Hi, friends. Glad you're here today. Um, Dear friends, I was wondering if someone asked you what's the most outrageous thing you've ever done. Would there be something that immediately came to mind, or would you just kind of have to, or do you like have a long list of outrageous things you've done? Well, Tom and I are kind of boring people, and especially with Tom, he's very, very quiet. He's such an introvert, and if anybody who knows him, if you'd say, well, can you imagine Tom doing anything outrageous? They're like, wow, get a different haircut, which he hasn't in 47 years, let me just tell you. Um, they'd be kind of hard pressed. Well, there's a couple of things that he did that were, as far as our families were concerned, were totally outrageous. And then we had a big lapse there, like a few decades with Tom not, just taking care of business, looking out for the family, going to work, taking care of business. And then we had a date with our oldest granddaughter, Anna Lynn. Um, when Tom and I were married and we were expecting our first child, that was, way back in the day. And back then, I had to have her C-section, and it was still major surgery. And there was not all this, okay, it's a whole family event, and let's all be there. No, it wasn't like that. Um, and so my doctor was so great. I love Dr. Stubblefield. And he managed to sneak Tom in. And so he snuck Tom in for when Mary was born. And it was a C section. And Tom said he stood way back here at the time. This big old chicken, I was out like a light because I did not want to know what was going on. And he came out of that delivery room, and my mom said she didn't realize it was him at first because he had on scrubs and the thing on his hair and stuff. And she said then she looked closer and she said he pulled that mask down, and she said he had the biggest old grin on his face. And Mama and Daddy and Tom's parents, they were just flabbergasted that Tom would do anything that outrageous. Well, 3.5 years later, he topped even that because, by then he was a veteran parent and stuff. And they loosened up things a little bit in labor and delivery for C-sections and all. And it was still major surgery. And once again, the big chicken was knocked out cold. But Tom was in there, and, he was in there before I fell asleep and stuff. And Dr. Stubblefield knew us well enough by that point that as soon as, James was lifted out, he handed that screaming, hollering baby straight to his daddy. Straight to his daddy. Tom was the second person in James's life to hold him. I just took up just thinking about it. And Tom gave him his first bath. There was a nurse right there in case he needed help. And Tom bathed him up and everything and stuff. And once again, his family just like, Tom, real Tom Walters? Yeah, Tom, yeah. But he did. He did. He loved me and he loved those kids, and he was willing to do that. Well, since we got moved and settled in, we've downsized, and some things have kind of slowed down a little bit in our life. We've just been so happy. We've just been pleased. And I told Tom recently, I said, you sing in the car now. Well, Tom hasn't sung in the car for over 4 decades. And so that's kind of a big deal to me. And he's like, because I'm happy. I'm just, life is good. And I said something to the granddaughters here earlier this summer. And I said, that's kind of a big deal that Grandpa sings when you guys are in the car. Why? Okay, well, you know what? They're 7 and 13. They don't understand that. Well, we had a date with Anna Lynn, and she wanted to go to the Country Club Plaza here in Kansas City and go through the shops and stuff, and went to the Cheesecake Factory and go to an art museum and stuff, and we did all those things. But our first stop is going through the shops was to go into a Barnes and Noble. Now our girl loves books. I think she loves books better than life, and she cannot go to the library often enough to check out enough books for her to be reading. Well, this Barnes and Noble is 3 stories. I mean, it's 3 floors of just books, 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 and everything related to books and stuff. And she just walked in, it's like, whoa! And so she and Tom were looking for something, and I went on up to the 3rd floor, and I was looking at something different. And so after a while, I hear the elevator, and I don't pay much attention. I'm looking at what I'm looking at. And then I hear the door open, and I hear this laughing going on. And I go over because there wasn't very many people in the store. And I think, what is going on? And Alan's like, Allie. You are never going to believe what Grandpa was just doing in the elevator. And I'm like, well, before I could even guess, she's like, Grandpa was dancing. And I said, what? Grandpa was doing what? She said, he was dancing. Allie, she said, as soon as the music came on, Grandpa started dancing. Well, people, I gotta tell you, I think Tom Walters has danced with me maybe 3 times, and 2 of those times were at Mary's wedding and James's wedding. And, he was raised Baptist and he's an introvert, and that's just painful for him. Just painful. And so it was just such a great thing. And so I got on the elevator and the music came on and Tom starts dancing again. And I was just like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. When we really love people, when we care about them, aren't we willing to do the most outrageous things? Aren't we though? And he said that it just, it's just a flood of blessing for everyone. And I just thought, wow, I just love that about Tom. I just love him that he, you know, loved her enough to make what could have been an awkward moment in the elevator just become a moment of celebration and joy. Facebook friend, I so hope that this week you have an outrageously loved moment, that you find joy in the people and the circumstances around you, and that your socks are blessed right off. Okay, dear friends, I'll see you later. Bye bye.